I've seen so many introverted people who run successful companies. It's not because they can like build great relationships, but it's because they've been showing up often and because they have a great product. If I cannot open up or be vulnerable to a person, probably I can do that in front of a camera. Right. If you have great following but a shitty product, it's still not going to work out. Yeah. The important question that I'm asking myself every day is this the most important thing I should be doing right now? We, in a way, got an acqui-hire offer.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Boredroom with Fijit. This is a show where we take you with us along our journey building an early stage startup. We'll talk to you about our screw ups, our successes. We'll talk to people that we want to learn from. And yeah, we'll just take you along with us as we go through this journey. And today I'm super happy to have our first official guest. Someone who has been a mentor to me, a friend to me, and who I think we can definitely learn a lot from.
Curious I'm the first guest.
Harish Uthayakumar, welcome to the show. Harish is the founder of Bluelearn, which is, as described by your website, India's largest community of future builders. Yes, you are our first guest, and thank you so much for coming on the show. Let's start with intros. Why don't you start by telling us who you are and what Bluelearn is?
Yeah, sure. So thanks for having me. I'm Harish. I was born in Sri Lanka, lived there for the first 5 years. A lot of my family, pretty much the only way of earning money in Sri Lanka is to start something in tea. So a lot of my family just comes from working in tea estates and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's how we started. And then eventually education happened and my dad, my uncle and all sort of progressed in life, and we moved to India when I was 5, and ever since I was a kid, I think I've always been the odd one out of the class. For example, when I first came in, I didn't know how to speak Hindi or Marathi in Nasik, so I was the odd one out in the class, and it's been kind of similar until high school, right? Because of which I always did things which were considered abnormal around me. For example, just staying at home and making videos because I could not speak to anyone else, or not have a lot of friends in high school, which led to my YouTube channel later on. Or just sitting at home, watching YouTube videos and trying to build quirky things like chicken egg incubators or radio FM stations and stuff like that when I was in 6th grade, when I should be just playing football with my friends or something like that. So I think that's how my childhood was.
Right.
Bits was a game-changing thing for me because I actually met people who had a similar bandwidth, people like you.
Yeah, for context, we both studied together at BITS Goa. Harish is the 1 year senior.
Yeah. And that's where I met people who I could actually vibe with. And now I run a startup. For Bluelearn, we are one of India's largest student community. Our goal is to sort of build this online university where people can actually learn new age skills, meet amazing people, and get opportunities or start something of their own.
Damn. But this is not the first thing that you've tried to build.
No.
Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit. I want to know the story. How did Bluelearn happen? What are the things that led to it? You can talk about the chicken egg incubator if that's relevant to your, hero arc story.
Sure. I feel throughout my childhood, I've just liked experimenting and building stuff, not necessarily to make money out of it, right? So I'll give you an example. Back when I was living in Nasik, in our apartment, every time the water used to go above a certain level, we had to turn off the motor. Okay, so for that, I was look, this is a problem. I have to go downstairs and turn off the motor every time the water goes above a certain level. What if I attach a sensor which will sort of make a sound every time it passes a threshold? So that way I wouldn't miss out on turning it off on time. Or maybe I can just connect it to the switch and turn it off automatically. So that's something that I built. So these are common things that I just noticed and built solutions for. So even chicken egg incubator for that matter, right? I just thought it'll be fun to artificially hatch chickens in my apartment. Like that's like a cool thing to do, right? Like I can be a mom for like fucking 6 chickens. And it was just...
What is it with Nasik people and chickens? Even that dude on the Indian matchmaking, have you watched the show?
Oh yeah, dude. He also ran something like
seems
that.
to have a chicken thing going.
Yeah. But he also had a Mustang. I don't... Not yet.
Not yet.
But yeah, dude. So it's always been... There was this website called Instructables, which was a community of builders who used to post tutorials of what they built. Now it could be something as simple as a bat. Okay, it's not a simple thing, but how would I build a Batmobile? To, you know, how would I make like origami? Like it's that range, right? People just building cool stuff.
Right.
So that's how it started. I think in college, we actually thought, what if we merge building with capitalism, right? Like what if we can actually use the spirit of building new things to actually make money? So in first year of college, we started building websites, right? So it was a cool skill that we knew, like building websites was nice.
You coded these or like Wix or whatever?
Actually, there's this thing called WordPress, right? Which is no code tool, similar to Wix. So we started building websites, but this time we start selling it as well. So now it's like Shreyans and me building websites, writing content, and also contacting clients and asking if they're going to pay for it. So that's how it started. Then we moved on to chatbots.
How did that work though?
Websites? We made a little bit of money. We made like $500.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
First year?
First year.
Damn.
Yeah.
And it was you and Shreyans from the start?
It was just me and Shreyans.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I think one great thing that we did was, so we didn't do just websites, we did design as well. We used to design, like do graphic design and shit like that. It was like an agency of sorts. We contacted US clients, which was like the smartest thing we could have done. We made $500 with just like 2 clients, right? Which is very hard with Indian clients. So these were like few lessons that we learned on the way. If you're in a B2B business, it's better to not deal with Indian clients if you want to grow and stuff like that. But yeah, then second year we started this chatbot thing. Like we like building chatbots. I once went to this website and saw how to build an actual chatbot. And then using the capitalistic mind, we were like, how can we sell this now? So at BITS, there used to be this thing called Shark Tank. Okay, so one of these clubs used to organize this competition called Shark Tank BITS Goa edition, long before Shark Tank India was even launched. So we went there and we pitched the idea and they paid us 6,000 rupees, that club. And that was like a validation that we got, right? Like now we have this knack for building and we also know how to like either raise money or make money. So these small things kind of helped us eventually build out Bluelearn.
Right. No, okay, we've dropped off. So, okay, fine. So this chatbot thing, I have context. It was called Huloq. Right? So Huloq was still just you and Shreyans, or you all had more people at that
So point? Huloq initially was just me and Shreyans because we did not need someone to code. Right? Like it was just a no-code platform. But eventually what happened was like we had certain ideas for which we needed someone who should code. So that's when we contacted Raj. So for context, Raj is one of our common friends from BITS Goa. I contacted Raj and I was like, look bro, like I'm trying to build this chatbot thingy and I need someone who can code. So Raj said, send me a WhatsApp message and I'll forward it to a couple of Goan groups that I'm part of.
This is Raj from Stoa School.
Yes. So Raj right now
he was doing Nova Samita at the time.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he basically took that message which said, hey, I'm Harish, I'm building a chatbot, I'm from BITS Goa and I need someone who knows Python. And he forwarded that. And one person called Keenan DM'd me. And that's how we started working together. Yeah.
Damn. Awesome.
Keenan is your tech lead.
And now Keenan is the tech lead at Bluelearn.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, so Huloq happens. Huloq does well. You'll sell any chatbot?
Yes, we made very little money. We actually just made like $150 types. That's it.
But what did you figure out? Like, what did you learn?
I think Huloq made us shameless. Like, so I remember there was this hotel called Express Inn, and we were trying to sell a chatbot for them. So basically the proposition was, look, you can have a chatbot, a QR code at your lobby. People can come scan it And once they scan, they can explore the hotel, right? It'll tell you which restaurants are there, where's the pool. You can book rooms. You can probably, request for extra towels and stuff like that. It'll be like your personal assistant while you're staying at a hotel. Right. So that's the idea that I had.
Yeah.
Okay, and I knew that I had to pitch to them. So day one, I cold called the general manager. He didn't pick up. For like 4 days, I kept trying. I WhatsApped him, emailed him. Finally, he got pestered and he was like, just come to my office. He was just surprised to look at this 19-year-old kid trying to pitch like a B2B solution. Then he put me in touch with the owner. And I remember like for hours, I used to just sit in the lobby waiting for like this general manager to come and me to pitch. After a point, he started ghosting.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that entire experience of just being totally shameless if you have to sell really helped. In fact, at a point, the owner was like, bro, like I'll angel invest in you. Right.
Awesome.
So that experience was worth it.
Right.
I feel if you can talk to a baniya in India and if you can like convince them to at least consider your product, that's like decent sales skills. Right. I feel more than sales skills, it's just showing up, right? Like you don't have to like, be a great orator. It's all about just showing up.
Yeah.
I feel like even now, like I've seen so many introverted people who run successful companies. It's not because they can like build great relationships, but it's because they've been showing up often and because they have a great product.
Yeah.
So that really helped. I think that's
Any other major learnings? You guys figured out how to put a small team together.
Yes. I feel another major lesson that we learned was talk about your product, right? Like the podcast that you guys are doing, it's great because you're actually talking about your product. Right. So though Huloq wasn't successful in terms of revenue, because I started posting about it on LinkedIn, what ended up happening was we in a way got an acqui-hire offer from this company called Haptic, which was a much larger company than us, right? So it's owned by Reliance. So if we were not in college, we could have actually gone there and worked and probably like gotten paid decently. Right. So Haptic would have not noticed us if we did not speak about Huloq on LinkedIn, if I did not make some noise about it. Right? So build in public was the other learning. Thirdly, until Huloq, I think I was more of a solo builder, right? Like I'll be the marketer, I'll be the coder, whatever, everything.
Chicken mother.
Yeah. So Huloq was the first time when I worked in a team.
Right.
And that's got its own set of learnings, right? 100%. A lot of times I'm like, I don't trust this person. I think I can do it better. So getting over feelings like those really helped. Like giving complete ownership to a particular person and just believing that they're going to get it done. Those were feelings I was experiencing for the first time because until now it was me and I was accountable to myself, right? But now you'll have people who will question you. Now you'll have people who are better than you at certain things. Right. And accepting that is something that takes time. And I think Huloq taught me that.
Insane.
Can you also talk a little bit about your content journey? I don't think you've spoken about it.
Yeah. So, as I said, the reason I started making content in the initial days was because it was a form of expression. Nasik wasn't the best place for me in terms of my social life. I don't think I had the best set of friends who would really understand me, right? I think I found those people in BITS and not in Nasik.
Right.
So talking to a camera became like my form of expressing who I truly was, right? Like if I cannot open up or be vulnerable to a person, probably I can do that in front of a camera, right? So that's the reason I started making videos. And that in a way ended up, being like this documentation of my entire life. And that's how I've started picking up. So even in Bits Goa, like...
Yeah, when I first met you, you had 600 subs.
Yeah.
You were in second year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
now it's like 100 something thousand.
Yeah, now it's like 170,000.
Crazy.
I think the last 10 videos, pretty much all of them have crossed 100,000 views.
Insane.
So I think now I've like in a way learned what people want and like how the YouTube algorithm works and what kind of videos I should be making. But that wasn't the reason I was making videos back then. Right. Back then it was just a form of expression. And that eventually in Bits Goa ended up becoming sort of like a hobby where I was making videos about Bits Goa. And ultimately that led to like, people following me. And then I was like, okay, look, people actually following me. I think I should make videos which help them. And that's how the narrative sort of changed.
I did discover your college. I did discover your content in college. How to make money as a college student. These things I discovered in college. Yeah.
Nice.
Easy.
Okay, so far what has been established is you figured out that building in teams, you figured out how to build with a team.
Mm-hmm.
You figured out how to, that building in public is important. You figured out how to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And also you sort of figured out this content game, right?
Yeah.
So this was the foundation with which you entered into the Bluelearn journey.
Mm-hmm.
Fair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So how did that happen then? How did Bluelearn happen?
So I think Bluelearn is like a culmination of the lessons and failures of a lot of things which happened in the past, right? Like Huloq, like us trying to run a YouTube channel and trying to post for 2 years and almost staying at the same sub level, right? So I think like a lot of these learnings ultimately led to Bluelearn. Like it was us at the right time at the right place of sorts.
Right.
I wouldn't say that it's successful, but like it's much more successful than the previous things that we had tried out. In terms of Bluelearn, the content thing helped. So we were anyway making videos, we were anyway talking to students.
No. How did it happen? How did it start? What was what is the genesis of Bluelearn?
Like the Eureka moment of sorts?
No, not fuck the Eureka moment.
Okay.
Eureka moments are that's later. Like where did Bluelearn start? For example, Fijit started with a discussion that Lakshman and I had on Jan 2nd, sitting on a hilltop where we were just catching up after some time and we talked about building something together.
Okay.
And then we built the first thing that didn't work, then we built the next thing, blah, blah,
Fair.
blah. Yeah. So where did Bluelearn start?
Yeah. So I think Bluelearn started when we realized Huloq is failing, right? Like for months we hadn't gotten any clients. And on the other hand, I was also running this YouTube channel which was growing, right? So Shreyans and I had a call saying, look, we are trying to run a business which we are not passionate about, because B2B sales, chatbots, it's not that I am personally facing this problem. In fact, like I would not use those chatbots myself, right? Like it's just that we are forcefully trying to sell something. And B, we can clearly see an opportunity. Like it's COVID, people are at home. We had this WhatsApp group for my YouTube channel of sorts, which was growing like crazy. Every week we were onboarding like 1,000 people. And we're like, look, we can clearly see this as an opportunity in front of us, but we're still stuck to this old problem, right? So let's like shut Huloq down and put our focus on this. I don't know what we're going to build out of this, but there's a lot of people.
Happening here.
Yeah, there's some activity here, there's some action here.
Created.
Yeah, like let's see what we can build. In fact, the first product we were planning to build was this sort of portal where you can see all college events. Like if IIT Bombay organizes something, if NIT organizes something, you can just see all of them in one portal and you can like register for them. That was the first idea that we had. And we're like, screw this. Let's build something where we can personally relate to the problem, where we are the audience because we were still in college, and something that's exciting because as a consumer product, the moment you launch, you have like a couple of 100,000 users using it and giving feedback, right? For a B2B product, it's very hard to get feedback.
Right.
So that's when we were like, I think our DNA is more of towards building
consumer
something
product.
for students. Yeah. So let's move towards
Students.
that.
Fair.
Yeah.
And then?
Then, bro, we started this Telegram group.
Okay.
We made this Telegram group, dropped the link underneath my channel. It was called Clinify, and we saw what's happening there. And in that Telegram group, it was really exciting, dude. Like people used to post cool videos they came across. People used to like just mess around and make fun of each other. People used to learn skills together.
Yeah, I remember people used to sit together and learn English.
Yeah, people used to sit together and learn English. They used to sit together and discuss like Greek philosophy at like 11 p.m. So there were like a bunch of these insane sub communities which were formed, and Shreyans and I literally did nothing. Like we were just, it's like we just had this bird's eye view. Dude, so from Telegram we moved to Discord, right? So 11 p.m. you just look at the Discord server, there's like a bunch of people on a voice channel learning English, there's a bunch of people on a voice channel gaming, and we're like, fuck, this is crazy, right? So I think that was exciting.
PMF.
Yeah.
But how did you get the initial like people?
The YouTube channel helped.
You're following.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, here's the thing, right? A lot of people think my YouTube channel was the reason why Bluelearn just picked up.
Right.
Now that's partially correct. because for the first 1,000, 10,000 users for sure, but if you have great following but a shitty product, it's still not going to work out.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can have the best distribution, you can have Ashneer level distribution, but if you don't have a good product, it's not going to pan out well.
Right.
So this genuinely had people coming back to it every day. People found value in it, and that's why they stuck to it, and that's why they referred other people to even come on the platform. So it's a combination of a good distribution and a good product.
When did you guys figure out that enough value was being created here for you to build a team and raise funding and stuff like that?
To be honest, I don't think you can ever figure that out. At least for us, we were too naive to even know that this could turn into something.
Yeah.
So we thought, look, two things happened. One is placement seasons were coming up, right? Then, and Bluelearn did not have any funding. It was called Clinify, and it was just a Discord server. So Shrans and I had a call, and we're like, look, we need to startups are about taking risks, but it's about taking calculated risks. You can't just be,
Of course, it's not a gambling.
Yeah, like just because you want to be cool doesn't mean
100%.
you want to start up, right? Like I think that's the wrong reason to do it. So Shrans and I were like, look, if we both personally make at least 2 lakhs a month, bootstrapped, then we're taking this up full time and you're not sitting for placements.
Right.
So that was the call we had. Now that sort of forced us to build a business out of this. We had 3 months and we had to freaking figure out how to turn this Discord server into a real business. And that's when we launched this marketplace of cohort-based courses where you can learn finance over a weekend. You can learn, you can learn coding from a Microsoft developer over the weekend and stuff like that. So we launched a bunch of these things, made like around 4-5 lakhs a month in revenue, and we still did not have the confidence to drop it and do it full time because we were like, maybe this is just temporary, right? Maybe we cannot build like a sustainable business out of it. So we actually hedged the bet and applied to like Cred and Leap Scholar. So we applied to these companies and we actually got in. So we had the offer letter and stuff, and we also had Bluelearn. And right around that time, we had the first call with 100x. So 100x was a startup incubator of sorts, and they agreed to put 25 lakhs. So now we had to choose between joining one of these companies and getting paid decently versus getting 24 lakhs, which is usually like a yearly salary for a BITS grad. Use that 24 lakhs to run a company. And we were like, screw it, we are 20 and it's fine if we don't take a salary and like we just take this 24 lakhs and try building something. So we said no to Cred and Leap Scholar and we took this 24 lakhs and started paying our interns and that's how it started.
Awesome. Okay, so there you raised the funding, then what happened?
So we raised, and to be honest, I don't think money changes much of what's happening in your company. Like if you don't have PMF, even if you're given $1 million, it's very likely that you still don't have PMF, right? Like, so for us, we did get the money. We kept it in the bank and we're like, what now? Like, sure, we can maybe hire a bunch of people, but we still have to like do what we were already doing. And that's when we realized that the only difference the fundraise made was that it made us more confident in terms of spending somewhere, right? Like if you want to buy Zoom, you'll just buy it. If you want a G Suite ID, you'll just buy it. But like in terms of fundamentally building something, it changed nothing. Like I just woke up.
That I was telling a friend recently that people think the hardest VC in starting up is venture capital, but it's actually value creation.
Exactly, right? And value creation doesn't need capital. Like
not necessarily.
Not necessarily in most cases, right? Unless you're training AI models or something. Like you can do the same thing what you're doing at BitsGoa, sitting in your dorm room and working remotely with a bunch of interns, right? Like it's kind of similar. Capital does ease things out. Now you have a nice fancy office. You've got like equipment.
We can extend who sees our value by marketing.
Exactly, right? You don't have to worry about oh shit, how
but
am
the
I gonna...
value itself does not come from the money.
True. You don't have to worry about like where am I going to stay and like how am I going to pay rent, none of that. So it does give you a little bit of ease of mind, but that's 100%. It. Like apart from that, it's still the same. So for us, it was still the same, dude. The same meetings, the same stuff that we were building anyway. We just building that.
So 25 lakhs, you built something, did something happen?
So this is how it works, right? I feel like for you as a company, you're anyway on a journey, and VC is someone who just comes along in the journey. So we were anyway growing. 25 lakhs came in, didn't make much of a difference. And since we were anyway growing, other VCs were also reaching out. So in like 20 days, Lightspeed reached out. They were like, we can do your $400,000 round. And we said yes, because that's when we knew that we might actually need capital if you want to do this full time and hire, Keenan, Vineet, a bunch of these other people full time.
Yeah.
So we took that money and we sort of hired people full time this time around, and we were still building the same thing. So the journey was still the same, just that now it's a little formalized as a company.
Okay, awesome. So that happened. You're building an online course program at the time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And you'll raise the funding.
And
you'll
we had a
build
Discord server, and
Discord server.
now we hired people full time and we moved to Goa.
Right. Okay. Yes, you were living in Goa.
Yeah.
In Donna Park.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
So we moved to Goa. It was just 4 of us, me, Keenan, Vineet, Shreyans, and a bunch of interns. We had like 5 interns who were working to manage the Discord server and stuff like that. Now in Goa, it was the first time we were working in person together. So a bunch of learnings there, we were living and working together. And that's when we realized that all of us in a way have the same ultimate goal, right? Which is, helping students out in terms of, leveling up their career and in terms of becoming a better version of themselves. It could mean earning a better paycheck or, starting something of their own and something like that. So all of our visions were kind of aligned. And here, like the difference between the founding team and like employees is that the founding team is very aligned on the idea. So now Keenan, Vineet, though they have no responsibility whatsoever in terms of like strategy, they would still give tons of ideas and they'll be amazing, right? In terms of how we can lead the company and stuff like that. So I think that sort of came out. Like all 4 of us were just brainstorming on what we can do with the company. Tech, design were just tools which could sort of execute whatever our goals were.
Yeah.
So that happened. It was really fun. Things were much faster because we were doing things in person. And dude, we were there. I think in Goa was when we decided to actually move to an app, because Discord wasn't really our own platform and we didn't want to like depend on it for too long. That's when we moved on to an app, and we sort of decided to raise another round because we were like, like 4 people is great, but then if we truly want to build something larger and long term, then we'll have to like,
you need more capital.
we need more capital and more people, right? Like, because building an app wasn't something that we had done before. I think majorly the capital was to build an app, because building an app really requires like expertise over there. So that's the decision we took. We raised, and that's what happened.
So you moved to Goa after the 500k round, like that.
Yeah.
Now and then they moved to Bangalore after the second round.
Yeah. I think another realization that came in Goa was it's always great to have distribution. Like until now, distribution was something accidental for us. Like we had a YouTube channel, we had people organically coming on a Discord channel, and we thought that it's great, it's just, that's how products are built. But then in Goa, we realized distribution is a moat. Like we can literally beat any company with the amount of network that we have, right? Like a lot of people knew about Bluelearn, a lot of people knew about like the work that we did, and we were good at marketing. So these were our strengths. Like if you had to compare us with, say, an academy, right, which has probably 10 times more money and like much higher like advertisement budget. Yeah, I think like at least in terms of content, in terms of like production, in terms of reaching out to people, we've learned how to build these networks, right? So I think that really helped, and we realized that sure, revenue could come. This was 2021, right? So raising capital was also easy. We were like, let's halt revenue for now. So in Goa, we actually stopped those courses, and we were like, let's just spend the next 1 year building distribution, like reaching out to as many people as possible, making as many people install the app as possible. So the only goal in Goa was to have a great acquisition funnel and a great retention funnel.
Right.
So for the next 1 year, until now, it was just like getting word of mouth out and making a lot of people believe in Bluelearn.
Right.
So a lot of meetups, a lot of things on the app. We did a lot of content production, and that really helped us sort of build distribution.
And you're at 150K now.
Yeah, on the app we're at around 200-ish K.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But every week, I think what's interesting is every week on Instagram and on YouTube, we reach like at least 500,000 to 1 million impressions. Right? So those many people have heard of Bluelearn in some way.
Yeah.
So I think that really helps, especially in education, right? Where you have to like really build trust with your audience.
Right.
Because they're trusting you with their life and like how their future looks like.
Right.
So I feel like, at least in that sense, building a brand is really essential.
Right.
And a lot of people, especially in education, in the past have come with a very profit first mindset, right? So they'll sell a course on day one and like scale that course, and then eventually get hit by, there's this thing called the law of shitty click-through rates, which means like as you run more ads, the CAC inevitably increases, right? So if today you're getting a CAC of 2 rupees, there's a very high chance in 5 months it's gonna become like 10 rupees. That's how these ad platforms work. So what a lot of education companies do is they just launch one course today, they run ads for like the next 1 year, and then there comes a point where the amount you're spending to get one customer is more than what you're getting out of them, right? And that's where your business breaks, which is a very short-term approach to things. And we had the privilege of having capital to build this community to which we can sell something later, right? So that really helped.
How did Bluelearn Work come into existence?
Okay, so I think Bluelearn Work was, before that we tried a lot of things on the app. Okay, like I told you, right? It was like an events app where you can register for events and stuff like that. But the problem was none of it was working. And
weren't the courses working in the start?
The courses were working, but then we figured out that it's not scalable enough.
Right.
Doing live tutoring for a small batch over the weekend. It's not really scalable.
Right.
And now I'm glad we took that decision because, dude, like imagine some product is making
a hard decision if you're making 4 or 5
lakhs. Something's making you 4 lakhs every month.
Stopping to do that.
Right. Makes sense, right? We could have, if we had scaled it a little bit, we could have just become profitable.
Yeah.
Right. But then we did not, because we knew, sure, we can get like.
It wouldn't have been a big business then.
Yeah. I don't think we could have made like 100 crores a year out of it.
Yeah.
Like it would have capped out at probably 5-6 crores types. So yeah, that's the reason we stopped it. But where was I before that?
You were talking about Bluelearn Work, how you came to that.
Yeah, Bluelearn Work,
tried
right?
a bunch of things.
Yeah. So we tried a bunch of things. None of it worked. So this events thing did not work out. We tried some networking thing where you can like be part of a group chat and like chat with other people. And that's when we realized we were building products out of intuition.
Yeah.
Like it's not out of a real need.
Right.
It's not out of observation. It's not out of like, someone really wanting it.
Right.
So we just stopped focusing on the app for a bit, and we went back to our Discord server and we were like, let's see what works on Discord, pick the elements that work on Discord and put that on the app, which was a very smart move, I think. And when we went back on our Discord server, there used to be this channel called Jobs and Internships. And I think Shreyans noticed this first. He was like, bro, this channel has 4 to 5 companies posting every single day.
Yeah.
Right? Like these are internships both, like right from 10,000 to 1 lakh, right? And people used to apply to these internships. In fact, I started getting a lot of DMs on Instagram saying, look, I found my first job on Bluelearn, which is the last thing that I expected of Bluelearn, right? Because it was meant to be a skilling platform. It was meant for people to sort of have fun and just, come for music concerts and stuff.
Right.
It was more of a fun platform. In fact, once one of our investors said, why don't you pivot to a dating app? Right? It was meant to be something fun. But then now
value was created somewhere else.
Yeah, value was created in jobs and like internships. These weren't even jobs. I wouldn't call them jobs. These are more of like freelancing gigs of sorts, like short-term projects, which people were posting about. And getting companies to post organically, that was insane. So we were like, look, there's an opportunity here for sure. Like Discord is the worst place to post a job.
Right.
Like the interface is just not meant for it.
Yeah.
So why not like just focus on that and build something focused on work? And yeah, dude, like I think we stopped everything for some time, like social features, this and that, all the jazz we stopped, and we just focused on making Bluelearn work.
Damn.
And that 1 month that we spent, I think it was last December, we for like a month or two, this was a hard decision. A lot of people did not like this. I think when we like went and told people that, look, we're just going to focus on work, they were like, no, but we're a social app and like we should be building other things. But sometimes you can't do too many things at once, and you'll have to just do one of them. So there was a lot of pushback for sure, but then we're like, screw it, like I think it's the right move. And we focused on that. Today we have 1,000+ companies hiring from us.
Insane.
Yeah. And in fact, we've even started making a little bit of revenue from some of these companies.
Right.
So that way, I think it really helped. So a lot of times, I mean, lesson learned, at least for me, would be a lot of times you might have to just listen to the market, bro. Like even if you want to build something else, it doesn't matter. That's not what people want. Like
we hear it again and again, listen to the users, but nothing is more true than that. Right?
Yeah.
You have to create value for them.
True.
So you did not really face a cold start problem, right? Like you already had students and you had companies who wanted to hire. Which was the hardest side to solve?
Bro, so we didn't face a cold start problem for Discord, because Discord is a
the
great
YouTube
product
channel.
in itself, and people can just join and start using it. Like I didn't build Discord, someone else built Discord, and Discord has great retention.
Right.
Like even if you guys were to onboard people onto Discord, you'll have like a lot of people just use the product because that's how it's built. It's like WhatsApp.
Right.
Like you haven't built WhatsApp, but if you use it for your users, people will like it.
Right.
For the app, we faced a major cold start problem. Like people would just install and leave in like 2 days, and we literally have like 0 users. So for that, we really had to like try a lot of things. So there's this person called Nikita Bear. I'm not sure if you guys follow him on Twitter, but he built this app called Gas App, and before that, he built this app called TBH. He sold TBH to Facebook, and he sold Gas to Discord, and he's known to be the king of social apps, right? So he says that when you're building an app, firstly just finish off building the foundation, which is your notification systems, your DMs, or whatever the foundation is, right? The
basic
backend,
features,
which
whatever,
the database which holds it steady, and then set up a process where you can rapidly iterate the main page, right? The thing that the users see, like what they see today should be very different from what they see tomorrow. Like you should be able to rapidly iterate, and then you'll be able to figure out what works. Because when it comes to apps, the first 2, 3, 4 variations are going to be wrong. Like that's the nature of apps. Like it's very hard to get it right. So don't fixate on one format. Don't fixate on like one particular type of interface. Like you should be able to change the interface ASAP. So build the foundation, because every app needs to have notification systems and all of those things. But like the interface, like you should be able to rapidly change it. Like set up a system where you can change it tomorrow itself. Like I'll give you an example. For us, the feed, right? The feed of the Bluelearn app earlier used to be live chat. Like how you chat on WhatsApp, it used to be like that. We changed it into a Reddit style format where you can post.
Right.
And we were able to do that in a fairly short amount of time. So stuff like that, right? Where you can like really experiment and see where the change is. Like these should be major changes that you should be able to pull off in like a day or two. And that's the only way to make social apps sort of kick off.
So how did you guys figure out the cold start problem
for us? It was to figure out what even is a problem, right? Like earlier we were just building, networking features, but network for what? Like why would someone come on Bluelearn and like just chat with a random person? That's just a hypothetical thing that you're making up in your mind, right? Is it even a true problem? So for us, the cold start problem got solved with BL work. Like we, in a way, made this flywheel where people come for work because everyone wants some sort of gig. A gig is beautiful because even if you're a student or a working professional, you always have time to make a logo and get paid $20, right? Like you can do it, anyone can do it. Like so, it's like a little universal. So people come for that, right? And then they see a bunch of these gigs, and when they come for it, they also see that, oh look, Bluelearn has clubs. I can join maybe the startup club, I can join the coding club, I can join the design club, and from there I can maybe meet people, I can send DMs. So they come for, like, this is the tool, like BL Work is a tool, and they stay for the network. So it's called come for the tool, stay for the network.
Right.
So that
Instagram
way of philosophy
that,
changed, right? Yeah.
With the filters.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
used to use
Right.
Instagram because
Yeah.
the like making the photo shittier made them look better, and
True.
then they fell in love with the social.
Yeah. So I don't think we've nailed it yet, to be
Right.
very honest.
Yeah.
I think BL Work works pretty well. Every day we have over 1,000 applications, 1,000 people
Insane.
applying, different
Yeah.
companies. About 30, 40 companies post every day.
Right.
So that way it's been like decentish. Obviously, like the scale that I'm expecting is like 10x of all of that. But the social part is something we're still figuring out.
Right.
People who use it, like the couple of 100,000 users who use it really well, but new users aren't using it as much as we want them to.
Right.
So that's like a couple of things that we are figuring out right now.
We can cut this part out if you don't want to answer it. But have you guys hired anybody for a gig from Bluelearn Work yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay, awesome.
100%. Yeah.
Nice.
Also, like, are you most of your users Indian? Like, do you advertise anywhere else? And
Not
what about like
really.
the company side also? Who is hiring?
Company side, it's majorly Indian companies, but we do have a decent chunk of like outside SF, US companies as well.
Yeah.
In terms of the user base, it's mostly Indian.
Yeah, it works, right? Like, if you have like Indians looking for a job and it's US companies,
exactly,
mostly,
right.
it really
You
works,
get
yeah.
paid higher and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In fact, we've had people who've been paid like $1,000
Damn.
for like one project and stuff like that. So
Yeah. How do you onboard companies to BL Work? Like, how do you?
that's the surprising part, right? Because as I said, we've been really bad at B2B sales, and like I dread B2B sales. I just hate like talking to
companies.
gray-haired people in like large companies. I shouldn't say this, but like it's just hard sometimes
Right.
to explain what you're building.
Yeah.
So this time it just happened organically, which was a surprising part. I told you, right? On a Discord server, people used to just
people are
come
already
and
coming,
post. So that way it worked out.
Damn.
Nice.
What about your marketing mix or whatever? Like, how did you figure out what platforms work best? What experiments did you guys run?
So for me,
Wait, before that,
yeah.
maybe what you can do is first talk about what your job is at Bluelearn now. Like, what are you taking care of on a day-to-day?
Honestly, so this is how we initially did it, okay? Shreyans and I were like, I take care of marketing, I take care of XYZ, and Shreyans takes care of, say, product, finance, XYZ. That did not work out. I don't think for an early stage startup you should be doing that. If you have, for you and Lakshman, maybe it could work out because he's technically non-technical.
Lakshman does tech,
Right.
Karthik
For
does
you-
gaming, I do everything in between.
Yeah, for you it might work out, but if both the founders for at least Shreyans and me, that did not work out. So right now the way we do it is, for us as founders, our goal is to focus on the most important problem that the company needs right now. For example, for us to raise a Series A, we need at least $2 million in revenue run rate. Like that's become the standard for most companies. So I know for a fact that, like figuring out a business model and monetization is like a top-notch priority. Like sure, you can be growing your users, but there's no point if you can't like
Monetize.
see inside
Yeah.
where the money is going to come from, right? So that's where my focus is. That's where Shreyans's focus is. And I think when both of us work on like broader problems together, it just it's phenomenal. Like we just come up with great ideas, and the execution becomes much easier. Alignment becomes much easier. So that's how we've been functioning right now. The rest, anyone can handle. Like
Right.
if like community and a bunch of those things, like Shreyans is doing it right now. Maybe a couple of days later, I might do it. Like whoever's interested in whichever part, I can take care of it. But the important question that I'm asking myself every day is this the most important thing I should be doing right now?
Right.
Like, should I be engaging in a 2-hour meeting to decide where the offsite is? Or should I be figuring out how many subscribers I need for my membership to reach $1 million in revenue run rate? Right? So deciding where you're spending your time, I think that's become very important. Because honestly, like, you can only have, say, 6 hours of focused work, or maybe lesser. Like people say it's 4 hours of play.
Slow thinking.
Yeah, where you can like really put
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
cognitive load,
Yeah.
right? So if on a daily basis, like that's the limited amount of time you can like really focus and like make a good decision on where do you want to spend it. Like asking that question really helps now.
Damn, that's awesome. Okay, yeah. The previous question I asked was about your marketing, because that's something that we are in the process of figuring out, right?
Yeah,
like Facebook ads, Google ads, distribution. We're trying organic stuff also. We have a vlog series, like these mini vlogs that we do. I don't know if you've got a chance to check them out.
They're awesome. Check them out.
Thanks. Yeah, I'd love to get your feedback also on that. Like maybe we can show him the shit that we are doing, and maybe not like the private stuff. But whatever. Like show him everything. We can show the screen on this thing, and you like
100%.
give rate our shit.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so like tell me what you guys tried. So you guys, your YouTube channel happened organically.
Yeah.
What you were doing is you were making all sorts of rando content when I first met you, and then you started making college content. You started making like Bits Goa Kid Goes to the Gym or like Room Tour, and that shit blew up.
Yeah.
And then you built stuff on top of that, like okay, college kid, how to make money, how to do this, that, whatever. You built that insanely well, and there was no cold start over there. But for the Bluelearn app, there was a cold start, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you had the luxury of resources. So what did you guys do? How did you the balance between the organic stuff that you all had figured out and the inorganic stuff? Like how did you guys figure out how to do marketing?
Or if you guys have distribution of organic and organic.
Because
you started by reaching out people randomly and you were on ground and everything. So I'm sure that once you had some funding and then you were like more interested on doing more ads, right, or things like that. So how do you do the distribution of organic versus inorganic? How do you approach it?
I think in the initial days, it's okay if you don't do ads. But then a lot of times people just ask, how do you even like get users? And I think it's fine if you have less number of users. It's fine if you have 1,000 users. It's fine if you have 100 users. Because the main thing you're trying to figure out is what the fuck that app even is, right? Because it's very early.
Is value created? Where is it?
Yeah. So it's fine. Like at least as far as I remember, I don't think we ran any ads in the initial days at all for the first couple of like 4-5 months, right? So it's fine. It's fine if you have 500 users. Just see what the behavior of those 500 users is, talk to them, and see like where the value creation is and what the app is even about. If I was to talk about this market, even figure out how you're going to make money out of that,
100%,
out of those users, right? I think that's far more important, because if you're able to figure that out for 500 users, doing it for 50,000, 100,000 is not going to be that hard, right? It's like, I'll give you an example of this app called Calm. Calm is this meditation app, right? So, they don't like, say 50 people enter the app today. Their job as a product manager, as a founder, is to just figure out what these 50 people do, right? So Calm has a premium subscription, so that's how they make their revenue. Calm has, a huge library of different like tunes and stuff like that. So their job is to figure out how many tunes do they use, how much time are they spending, and what's the free to paid conversion ratio. That's what they need to figure out. Now with that, they can use their capital to like boost that number as much as possible, and like do content, do whatever. Like as I said, a great distribution and a great product are two different entities. Like it's very like you can't like merge them, right? Like you can have great distribution but a shitty product, then you're not going to build a great company at all. Like there are so many YouTubers, I wouldn't name, but he also does podcasts, but they have like great distribution, but they also have an app, but no one uses that app, right? He probably has like 3-4 mil subs, but like just a few retained users on the app. So just like leave the distribution part aside. Your job is to just make a great product, and if it's built right, you'll get enough capital to scale that up further. Like Nikita Bear, right? You don't know about Nikita Bear. He didn't have a YouTube channel. He has some Twitter presence, but that's it. No one knows about Nikita Bear. But he built an app which was installed by almost 1 in every 3 teenagers in the US. Right? So I feel when it comes to like social apps and stuff, what matters more is out of the few users that you have, how many referrals are you getting, how much revenue are you making, how long are they staying on the app. That's it. After that, you can use all your marketing stuff and resources to boost that number. So
that makes a lot of
sense.
sense.
I would just separate both those things.
Right.
So like you would say that if we have, let's say, 500 users, then we should solve for their retention first and then taking that number
totally
to 100k,
right.
Or because people, whenever we talk to people, we hear different things, right? Some people would say that retention comes later. Figure out how to get the 100k
first
people
get
first.
100,000
people
users
and then
figure out like right now you don't have enough users to figure out whether they're retaining or not. The sample size is too small.
See, even we face this dilemma, right? The question of like growth or engagement or revenue or engagement and all of that. And I would say the right way to go about it is just set a primary KPI, which in most cases is revenue.
Right.
Like figure some way out of making revenue. Like that becomes the primary KPI. So if your revenue is growing, your company is growing. Right? Now everyone's aligned. And it's great. It's a great metric because you can't lie about revenue. Like you can definitely lie about different cohorts having different retention and different games having different retention, a lot of those things. But revenue is something which is like,
it's absolutely,
it's constant, right? And there's good quality revenue is PMF. What I mean by good quality revenue is that, you can obviously get short-term revenue. I told you, right? EdTech companies can simply sell a course right now and get short-term revenue. But good-term revenue is long-term revenue, where like you have good LTVs, you have low CACs and stuff like that. So if you have good quality revenue, that's actually a sign of PMF. You're building a legit business, right? If you see any, at least for you guys, if you see gaming companies like Nazara Tech, they make a shit ton of money, bro. Like they definitely have great engagement, right? So for example, Nazara Tech, the primary KPI is revenue because it's a public company and they have they have shareholders and that's how they grow as a company. Crafton, I think the other one is like these companies, for them primary KPI is this. Secondary KPI is retention and engagement.
Right.
And growth, I feel, is okay. Like you don't need a lot of users to do it. And if you have great retention and engagement, there's a very high chance they might refer this app to their friends and they might like come in. So probably have primary, secondary KPIs, decide what they are, and that might make things much easier. Like this was the same dilemma we were in back then. Where we're like, what are we even doing? Like, should we focus on retention? Like, people are coming back. Should we focus on just these 1,000 users? Should we run ads and get 10,000 users so that maybe later we're able to figure out retention? We have so few users that we can't run experiments on them. Should we get more users? A lot of these things get solved when you have a primary KPI. Which becomes revenue. So the only question that you need to ask is, okay, look, is it going to help me?
Which has to be revenue for any business, no matter what size.
See, it depends. In 99% of the cases, it's revenue.
99% of the cases,
except if you're
obviously
building,
the final KPI is revenue, but does that have to be
in the initial lease
at
itself?
every stage?
So YC says start charging from day one. Right? Like that's been the advice to most founders. Right. Which is start charging from day one. Even if it's a freemium product, it's fine. Like you get it. Like it can be a freemium product. I'm not saying like put a paywall on your app or something like that. It can be a freemium product, and maybe you can have like Fijit Plus or something like that, right? So that's been interesting. The 1% case where you don't need revenue initially is social media apps. Right. But if you want to be a social media app, you need to grow like crazy.
Right.
And even today, I think the best social media apps like Gas have been monetizing since day one. Right. So they figured out some business model. Right. There are a few apps like Fizz Social, which have raised like a Series B without having any real revenue. Right. But it's very hard. Like you need to have like a highly differentiated product with like millions of users for that to actually happen.
Makes sense.
And there have been a lot of cases in the past where these apps have just fizzled out because they weren't able to really figure out a true business model, or Facebook beat them.
Right.
So tricky, but yeah.
We're also like actively trying to just solve this. Like, what is the one thing that we need to get first? Like, I think it has to be the first 100k installs. Like I feel like once we, and that too like with a global audience, right?
Yeah.
Because our app is by design, it's meant for
you can't monetize
anyone,
a gaming app, a hyper casual gaming app for India. It's very, very hard.
That's hard. 100%. Yeah. So let's think from your perspective.
Isn't my even if my KPI is revenue at this stage, isn't getting 100,000 US users or global users, isn't that
So that's
equivalent
why,
to solving
so when
for
I
that
say
KPI?
primary and secondary KPI, a lot of these are interlinked.
Right.
So for example, as you said, right, getting 100,000 US users is a gold mine.
Yeah.
Because that will definitely help you increase your revenue.
Right.
Right. So if you think of it that way, like, why are you doing it? Because you want to increase your revenue, right? So
Right.
it ultimately does lead to revenue.
Okay. So it's like it's still basically solving for the primary KPI being revenue.
through the
It's like
secondary
focusing
KPI.
on people who will eventually pay.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like you're trying to reach to the primary KPI through a secondary KPI, but it's still in the back of your head.
Yeah.
It is to make revenue.
At the end of
Like,
the day, you have to be thinking about revenue.
Yeah,
All
like
of
the
these
reason-
things have to lead to revenue eventually.
Yeah, like the reason you're not focusing on India probably is because there's low revenue.
Right.
So you guys inherently know that it's revenue,
Right.
but you're
Sure,
trying
yeah.
you're trying a different path to reach there.
Right.
Okay, yeah. Does reaching 100,000 users mean you've built a successful company? No.
No.
Does
Revenue
reaching,
means a profitable
Yes.
business means that we've built a successful
100%.
company.
I think 100K, like
So-
the reason why we want that number is so that we can have good data. Like
what I would do there is, yes, I would, like 100,000 users from a high ARPU company would be great.
Yeah.
But I would also want to prove that it's great,
Right.
which is by having one simple, I don't know, like a simple pop-up which says upgrade to Fijit Plus or something like
or
that.
we do like rewarded video ads or something.
Something,
Double your
ads
points by
or
watching this,
ads or something
whatever.
like that, yeah.
Right.
But I would really, like, instead of reaching 100,000 users and then testing out if this makes
Yeah.
revenue, I would put the revenue engine right now itself
Right.
and then scale to 100,000 users.
Yeah, like maybe if
Worst case, I recover some of my CAC back.
Right. Right.
yeah, maybe like for US, if we say for $1 a month, even if,
Yeah, man.
if that's the case,
Like, you should go for
it's
it.
better
Like,
than
if
giving
you
them
have
for free.
100,000 paying users, you should have charged them before itself. Like,
Right. Yeah.
So-
No, I get how that makes sense.
that would be interesting, yeah.
That at least makes sense for an experiment, right?
Yeah.
Because so like right now a majority of users are of course from India, Pakistan, Nigeria, Philippines, and US.
Then ads is usually the way to go for
Yeah.
that audience. But
Yeah.
maybe you don't want to spoil your experience with ads. I
Right.
think you should really take inspiration from Duolingo.
Right.
I feel though it's an education company, I feel they've used games really well.
Yeah, they've gamified the app beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
100%. It's one of our things.
And you
on
should,
our
like, here are
report.
some stats about Duolingo, right? If you just look at where the revenue is coming from, India is not even in the list,
Yeah.
right? It's US and then a bunch of European countries. I think second is France, then you have Germany and a bunch of these companies. I think one of these countries like Vietnam or Thailand, they make more revenue than India,
Wow.
right? So I feel if you just, as an exercise for apps, once what I did was I just went to Netflix's revenue, Duolingo's revenue. There's this company called Cambly. I just broke down where the revenue is coming from, because sure, they're large global companies, but where is the revenue coming from? Does India even contribute to any of it?
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised. India doesn't even fall in the list.
Yeah.
So when they publicly file the list, it's not even there in the list,
Yeah.
right? So those are few places where you might have to see. But at the same time, I don't know, like Nazara Gaming and a bunch of these people make a lot of money. But I'll have to see
No,
where,
but like
where
even
the
if
money
you
is
look
coming
at
from.
Indian gaming, like India's mobile using audience is growing. The Indian gaming market
It is
grows at
growing, yeah.
17% year on year. But India is still not in like the top 10, 15, 20
true, yeah.
from a revenue
Yeah,
lens.
yeah. So it's great to have Indian users and monetize them in the future because,
Yeah.
as you said, it's a growing
Yeah.
economy. Maybe in the next 10 years they pay.
Sure.
Who knows,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But you want to make money
Yeah,
tomorrow,
exactly.
so
100%,
you want to have a.
100%, yeah.
Do you think it's a good
large
idea to
audience.
simultaneously focus on volume and value? Like for example, I know for a fact that my cheapest like cost per install would come from India, Pakistan, Nigeria, right? Let's just say that. So my volume would come from there. It's easy to convert. And then I also have people from USA, Germany, Canada who are less in number. It's harder to convert them, but they're more likely to pay. Do you think as the marketing person, do you think I should simultaneously focus on both audience? One that is volume.
See,
one
dude,
that
it
is
becomes
value.
much easier when you know what your KPI is. If revenue is the KPI,
Which
I
it
would
is.
say then it's a bad decision.
Okay.
Then you're running away from the problem. Then it's like making you feel good because you're getting installs.
Right.
You're getting Nigeria, Pakistan, Nepal installs.
Yeah.
It'll make you guys feel good because you're like,
Yeah.
shit, we hit
We'll
50K.
feel like we're doing something.
We hit 100K.
Yeah.
The entire team's morale, becomes dependent on installs and like you'll feel great. But internally as a founder, you'll know shit, bro. Like I know it's hard to monetize this audience. I know like they're not gonna pay or like
and eventually you run out of
and you'll eventually want to move to the US or some other country, and by then you might have run out of capital. Right. So I think it
take the hard thing first only.
Yeah, like face the problem. It's fine. Like maybe for 5 months you'll be at 5,000 installs.
Yeah,
it's fine, right? Like it's okay, as long as you know like what you're truly focusing on.
Yeah.
So
makes a lot of sense. Do you have any more questions in this thing? Otherwise, I'll like talk about something else.
So I think as a marketer, the way I would look at it is not in terms of how many users I'm getting. It will be in terms of how many good quality users who would use my product and also pay for it am I getting. So your question, like the way people would judge you is it 300 really high quality high ARPU users or is it 1,000 low quality users? Like you've done a better job if you've gotten those 300 people than those 1,000 people.
But at this point, how, like, without doing an experimentation, how can I know? Like maybe like, for example, Axie Infinity and all those play-to-earn projects, right? They realized that their main users were from Philippines. So I don't know yet.
We didn't manage to monetize successfully later because those users left once the free shit.
As soon as they made money.
Yeah.
The free stuff
See, that's what no. So I feel when you have a primary KPI, which if you think is revenue, everything becomes aligned to it. So your goal as a marketing person would be to increase revenue ultimately, right?
Right.
So if your goal is to increase revenue, you would not get 1,000 Pakistani users. You would get 100 like European users.
Yeah.
Because now, say revenue grew by 30%, it means you've performed 30% better at like getting the right kind of people. So I think instead of number of users, if your KPI shifts to revenue, it'll become easier to measure your progress as well, or anyone's progress for that matter, right? If it's a product decision, how much did revenue move by this product? But since you're a gaming company, you also need to have a secondary KPI, which is engagement,
of course,
right? Like maybe your revenue grew by 50% for the next month, but your engagement dropped by like 100% and no one's using your app anymore. Then there is a problem.
100%.
So both should go hand in hand, but one takes precedence over the other.
Awesome. Cool. Curious Harish, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, man, anytime.
It was great talking to you. I honestly had so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If you want to plug anything, go check out Bluelearn.
Yeah, I mean, Bluelearn.in. Listen, go check it out.